Well, first of all, I guess you know, the job, is this something you thought about when Dabo brought you in last year, that I want to move into a full-time role and on the field?
Absolutely. This was my plan all along. Yes, sir.
So when Coach Brooks left, did you think this is maybe a chance for me, or you and Dabo talked about it?
No, not really. I didn't know that Coach Brooks was leaving, first of all, but you know, I was so wrapped up in what I was doing before, and being an analyst and preparing the team and all that. So you know, that really helped me to transition into the role. And then Coach Sweeney, you know, he came in the room and just kind of surprised everybody with it. So he didn't even talk about it. He said, "Okay, and now Mickey, you're going on the field, coach safety." So here we go.
So today's a big day for you, getting back out on the field to actually coach on the field.
It is. So you know, I've missed a year coaching, basically, where I was communicating with players and having a role there. You know, I've learned a lot and helped in other areas. But yeah, getting back on the field with a whistle and, you know, instructing kids and players to do things, yeah, it's been a while.
How specifically did this year off the field kind of enhance or help you now when you're preparing to get back on it?
Well, it prepared me a lot, because you know, you got to learn a new language. So you know, with Coach Venable's defense, you got to learn what he's saying and how he says it, because there's a lot of different ways to say the same thing. And this year I was able to learn you know, how he calls his coverages, how he calls his pressures, his blitzes, what he's looking for in the different positions too. I mean, that's a little bit different, you know, playing a field and boundary and things of that nature. So, you know, just being around him and the other guys and learning, that was a big help in transitioning into this role for me.
Yep. One thing was written, another thing was said. How are the duties going to be split up between you and Mike, just to make sure?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the safeties.
The safeties,
Mike will
okay.
be doing the corners. Yep.
Obviously, you have Grayson connections, but elsewhere on the recruiting trail, what will be points of emphasis for you?
Well, I'm going to have I'll have Northeast Georgia, so I'll be back there where I know a lot of people in that area, and then you know, I've got a little strip there in South Carolina, and then the west part of North Carolina. So I'll have Greenville and Lawrence there in South Carolina, and then that, like I said, that northeast part of Georgia. So which will be really good, because I'm very familiar with that. I'm gonna have to learn North Carolina, but I'll be getting with Coach Brooks on that. He'll be helping me out.
Somebody like Van Smith, is he going to be a big help for you transitioning into this, or, you know, returning starter?
Well, I think so. I think, you know, with what Van accomplished last year and what he did as a young player, and you know, I just watched him grow as a player, and now I want to see him grow as a leader. So that, you know, that's one of my objectives coming into this season with him, is, you know, transition into that leadership role. You know, he was a young guy on the defense last year, and you know, he's just really grown. So I think that'll be big. Yep.
Is one of the biggest challenges facing this defensive coaching staff replacing not only Ben Bulwer's production, but more his heart and soul?
Well, Ben was a great leader, and you know, I'm not sure he gets all the credit he deserves, because his leadership and the tough love and all that he brought to the team was, you know, was uncomparable to anything. You know, just very impressed with the way he played, but more than that, the way he led that defense.
As a coach, how do you try to kick that in with somebody, or can you do? I mean, you can't bottle up and sell what he's got.
No, you can't. But you develop other kids in their leadership style, and you gotta formulate that. And you got to find out what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and really hone in on those strengths and help them to grow in those strengths. And you know, that's why we're coaches, and we're supposed to find that out and lead them to that.
You talked about Dabo kind of, you know, it was a little bit of a surprise with you and everything. Have you thought about the journey of the past year from you know, head coach at Grayson to now on the field coach for a defending national champion?
You know, I don't think I've had time to really think about anything except cover 3 and cover 2, and you know, what we're going to do with our coverages and how we're running our practices. But just the transition, you know, I learned a lot at Grayson. You know, you have to coach everything. You know, I was the head coach there, and I was in charge of a group of people. I was in charge of a program. I was in charge of offense, defense, schematics, and all that stuff. Here, I've transitioned into basically coaching two guys. I mean, not two guys, but those two positions at safety and getting those guys ready. And then I'll have a role on special teams where I'll be coaching that as well. But just transitioning from being in charge of the program to serving in the program under Coach Sweeney and Coach Venables. But that's been great growth for me as a person.
Going back to y'all's days together at Alabama, could you ever have envisioned the success that Sweeney's having and that you would one day be working under him at a place like Clemson?
Well, it's not something I thought about, but I'm definitely not surprised with Coach Sweeney's success at all because, he and I are a lot alike in that we work extremely hard. I mean, we're blue-collar guys that, we had to earn everything that we got all the way up. And, with that kind of work ethic, I think if you don't grow weary, when you in due time, you'll reap that harvest. So that's something that I'm not surprised at all with either one of us, because we both had success as players at Alabama. We both started off in the walk-on locker room and had to work our way onto the field and play in, and we won a national championship there as players, and nobody said we could do that. And then, now Coach Sweeney's taken this program in 8 years to totally new heights, and it doesn't surprise me. And then I started a program from scratch where I had to buy the first football, build a stadium, do the whole deal, and now it's one of the top programs. In fact, when I left, I think it was ranked #1 in the country, when I walked out the door. So, I left it in a great place. So, I'm looking forward to coming here and having that same impact in the secondary with our defense.
Has this been easier for you because you have Dabo, you have Thad, Lemansky shows up, a lot of you, former guys, former Bama players, but guys that you know?
I think so. I think, having that familiarity with each other, I think that definitely helps. It puts you in a comfort zone where you can go in and you can talk candidly, and they know who you are. They've seen me, they know how I work, they know how I act and that sort of thing. So with that, I think that's been helpful. On the other side of it, I don't want to let them down, because, I look up to those guys and I respect those guys a lot, and I want to go out and I want to do a good job for them and help them and help the program. So, I guess it works kind of both ways.
How big of a void does Jadar leave, not just production, but sort of as a leader?
Yeah, it's a big void. I mean, Jadar was a ball hawk. That boy, he went out and he made plays, and we've got to find guys that can go out and make those plays in the secondary that he made. And not only that, but he knew that he'd been here for a while, and so he knew the defense inside and out. And so now we've got to make sure that that our safeties understand the defense, which goes back to Van and why he's got to lead, because he knows the defense inside and out too, and he's got to help bring those other safeties along with him, which I can already see that. I can already see him progressing in that.
Who do you see kind of taking that other safety spot? Would it be Tanner or Denzel, or are you just looking forward to that battle this spring?
Well, it's going to be wide open, but right now, we'll start the day today with Tanner and see what he can do. But that's just where you got to put a guy out there. So so Tanner will be that guy, and he's earned that. I mean, what he's done in practice and what he's done in games. When Tanner Muse gets in ball games, he makes plays. And, it's just going to be a matter of him learning the defense and knowing it inside and out and eliminating those mental mistakes. I mean, on the biggest stage, Tanner came in the ball game last year against Alabama and did a great job. So, we just got to build on that. And I feel like since he intercepted that pass and ran it back for a touchdown, I can't remember which game it was. It might have been Syracuse, but ever since then, his confidence levels just skyrocketed. So we're hoping to build off of that and get him going.
Coach, how nice is it for you just to personally be able to get back on the field coaching the players, and how